Well, hey everybody, and welcome back. Got another video on the truck today. Just picked up another camper shell. Now in the past I've run a camper shell. I swapped over to a bed rack to reduce weight and wind drag and all that kind of stuff. And now we are back to a camper shell. Now I'll get a little bit more in depth on why I made the switch and kind of the thought process behind that in a future video. But long story short, family's expanding, my wife's going on more of these trips with us, and I don't like sleeping on the ground. So we're changing things up. Today I'm gonna start a little build series on this camper shell. Obviously there's some work that needs to be done to it. And so I'm gonna do like a short little mini series, getting this camper shell up to like the state that I would be satisfied with it. And so there's definitely some things that need to be upgraded on it, updated, and then, you know, I'll do some of my typical accessories and build type things with this little mini series. So with that being said, let's get into it. So to start off, this is the ARE Z series. What I like about the cap a lot is how it matches the lines of the truck. So I think it complements the lines of the trucks really well. I think more so than the snug top that I used to have. Now there's definitely some differences between the ARE and the snug top, and there's definitely some things that I'll be upgrading. Build quality, I actually like the snug top a lot better. I had the snug top Rebel on the last truck, and just the way things clicked, like the doorknob, for example, like this is kind of, I don't know, just seems like a little flimsy to me. Could be that it's worn down, maybe I need to replace it, but everything on the snug top was just nice and tight. Now I picked this thing up for 1,900 bucks and included the front runner roof rack. And so I thought that was a pretty good deal. Front runner roof rack alone would cost me $1,000, and I had sold my last one, so I probably would be buying this rack again just to match the cab rack that I had. And so 1,900 bucks, roof rack already included. I do need to paint match it. I've already reached out to the guy that did the job on my last one. He charges $600-700 bucks on it, so I'm gonna have to factor that into the equation. Now let's take a look at just some of the features. So this does not have one of the keyless entries, so that's definitely an upgrade that I'm gonna need to be doing on the shell. Also, as you can kind of just see mechanically, these struts they're gone, and so I'll definitely be replacing those as well. Okay, so the struts are very easy to replace and very affordable as well. So that will be pretty easy upgrade. Also, the third brake light is out. That's kind of typical for these things. Even the snug top, when I sold it, the third brake light has gone out. Pretty affordable upgrade to do, pretty easy to do. So I'll be doing that in a future video. This one mounts a little bit different than the snug top, which I actually like better. It mounts with these C-clamps. What's cool about this setup is the snug top had like a bolt-on system where the fiberglass came out a little bit, a bolt went down, and it's still attached into the factory bed rails, but you could not move it around. And so like on my molly panel system, you can see I cut off the tops of it to try to force it to be able to mount both of these, the camper shell and the molly panel, to the bed rack. On this one, with the C-clamp system, they can mount wherever I need to mount it, and they're flexible, they can move around, and so I can still use these factory bed rails for other things, which is pretty nice. All right, now as you can see, it also has the carpeted ceiling on top, which is nice, so I won't have to update that. What it doesn't have is any kind of dome light. It also, I love having like a light on the end of the tailgate. If you guys remember on the previous camper shell, I had put together an LED strip that went across the top. I may do that, or I may do something like these Baja Design rock lights. I really love these, and so I may do something like that on this one and just mount like a Baja Design rock light somewhere on this in the back that has a switch on it. And so definitely going to be doing something like that. Now I still have my dual battery system wired up to this switch panel. I've had this set up for a long time. When I didn't have the camper shell on the truck, I had to constantly disconnect this from the battery just in case any elements, weather elements, got in there. I didn't want to deal with any kind of short. This isn't waterproof. I've kind of sealed it, and so I would say it's water resistant, but now that there's a camper shell on there, I can really kind of fix this up. I may update it to a different panel that's got more USB connections and less switches. But we'll see. So definitely gonna be working on some electrical upgrades in the future. You guys can look forward to seeing that. You'll see it has these windows. Now these are more of just vents. So you just turn the knob and the vent pops out. I thought this was a good solution just because we're going to be having our kids with us, and as the family gets bigger, yes, for right now I'm looking at getting a bigger rooftop tent. But something that I have considered is they make some air mattresses that will fit the shape of the bed of the truck. And so I have thought about, just to really make room for everybody, make it a comfortable experience, is maybe putting the two oldest kids back here, and then maybe the wife and I and the coming baby. Yes, we've got a coming baby. I know I haven't talked much about that. On the roof in the bigger tent. And so that's just as things get snugger in the rooftop tent, that's something that I'm considering. And so in the future, we'll see how that all works out. Now on this side, that knob is missing, and so I'll go ahead and have to replace that as well. So the cost of painting these things has gone up significantly since the last time I owned one of these. I've been getting quotes for around $1,100, so much so that I dipped down to a Mako quote, and it's $750, and that's if I remove everything myself. So the windows, the door, the roof rack, the tracks, all that stuff, $750. At this point, I would normally just paint it myself, but I'm just not gonna have the time to do a project like that. So today, I'm gonna be removing all this stuff and then just going with a Mako paint job. It's an off-roader, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but man, has the cost of doing these things gone up quite a bit. Okay, so I got the window, the back window, door window, removed. There's a bracket, I'll show you in a second. It goes on both sides on this end, and then removing the strut from the camper shell side just with a flathead screwdriver. And then these bolts right here, little 13mm bolt, removed those, and now I'm just putting these pieces together so everything's where it should be when it comes time to reinstall this thing. Now I'm going to try to remove the inside portion of the back door. Okay, so quick update. These rivets, I've never drilled out rivets before. I drilled these two out, but I'm not getting much movement, and so I think it's really sealed here. I did not go ahead and drill these two out because what I'm going to do right now is everything else is done. I'll show you in a second. I'm going to take this over to Mako, and just being that I'm not experienced in this, I'm going to ask somebody else a question instead of just ruining my camper shell. So I'm going to go down there, ask them about these guys. I'm sure they probably do camper shells like this all the time, so maybe somebody down there will know. I'll update you guys once I get an answer, but everything else was super easy. Just self-tapping screws on the inside of the frame in here, and then just kind of pop in the window out on the outside. Remove these guys. Tracks have been removed. Very simple as well. Just little hex bolts with some nuts on the bottom. Bagged those up so I can put them together. And then I still have to remove this, but I'm going to do it when I get there because I need the shell like removed from the back of the truck to be able to do that. So should be pretty simple. And yeah, probably took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to do all the removal stuff, front runner rack, slides, and everything else. So gonna take it back over to Mako right now, drop it off for some paint, and then after it's all painted, I'll catch back up with you guys and give you some answers on what I found out about this. At the end of the day, if it's gonna be a huge deal, I hate to do it, but I may have them just tape this off and paint around it. And then if I really need to, I can kind of get in with some touch-up paint in between if there's any white showing. I hate to do that, but at the end of the day, if it's gonna be a huge issue, this is just an off-roader for me, and so I can't be too particular on my paint job. It's gonna be pretty messed up from pinstriping and stuff like that anyways. So that's that. See you guys later. There it goes, off the paint. So shell is back from being painted. For a Mako job, I feel like they did a pretty good job. Overall, the total cost ended up being around $750. Back to this in the end, they ended up just masking it. And instead of removing this frame piece in the back door, they ended up just masking this. And you can see they actually did a pretty good job just with having this all masked up. And so there's no white showing. I think it looks really good. So I've ordered some parts for this thing, and the shell got done a lot quicker than I expected. So I've got a new third brake light that's coming. I've got new struts coming, and then I've got that new window knob that will be for this window that was missing. And so what I'm gonna do right now is just get the shell all put together again, and then I'll show you what that looks like. It's the reverse of everything I showed you in the previous clips. One thing I am doing this time around is, since these were removed, the waterproof sealing on the roof has definitely been broken. And so I'm just using some sealant that I had lying around. I've used this on previous projects, and it's not really for this. This probably isn't the best material, but I think it will get the job done. And so essentially I'm just filling each one of these holes, you can see up here, these little holes, with that sealant. So that way we get a pretty waterproof seal. This is not something that has to be like totally bomb-proof for me, but it's better than nothing. And so I think that will get the job done. So I've already done this side. I just got to get that other track on, which I'm going to do right now. And then probably tonight just get the door and the two windows back on. So actually that afternoon did not get to the windows. I'm doing them now, and I've essentially set them into place. This side I've already kind of tightened down, but I wanted to show you guys a close-up. So if somebody's looking to do something like this themselves, these are how the windows go in. So this is the window portion. It sets in against the window. You can kind of see. I'll show you. So it sets in right here. So this window portion kind of sets in like that into the window. And then this outer frame comes down, and you use these little self-tapping screws to sandwich it into place. Now I'm trying to line it up to get the best seal I can. If you guys can kind of see on the outside here, there's a little bit of a seal that goes around the outside. On my last shell, I used to get some linking in there, and so I'm trying to line it up the best I can to make the seal the priority. But when I do that on this side, it doesn't match the lines exactly the way it should aesthetically. Like the shell should be, or the window should be a little bit over more, but when I do that, the seal misses the cutout. And so I think I'm going to tighten this down and just have the lines be a little crooked, just so I have a better seal. Because if I don't have that seal, quite a lot of water is going to get in here. And I'm putting all this stuff together today because there's actually a little hurricane rolling into Southern California this weekend. And so I don't know what it will be like when it gets here, but I wanted the shell pretty sealed up for when that happened. So, all right, so we got the new struts installed. These are the same exact length as the other ones that I had. 15.71. You can find that right down here. So you can find that right down here, 15.7 inches, and then 40 pounds is what the old ones are. These are 15.7 inches and 45 pounds. So a little bit more firm, a lot smoother. The other piece that I needed to replace, another piece that I was talking about in the last video, is this little knob right here. It's missing from this side. So I ordered this guy off of Amazon for $5, and I think it's gonna work. We're gonna give that a try right now. If I can get it open. There's a little screw, but we'll just see if it works first. All right. Yep, we are good. So I'll put that screw in there, secure it into place, and that is good. From here, I still am planning on doing like a dome light up here. And I've got a third brake light ordered that when that gets in probably next week, I'll probably follow up with what it takes to wire up a third brake light. And then hopefully I'll have a dome light figured out by then too. So I'll probably wire both of those up in the same day, and that will be the next video. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it turned out pretty good. I think overall Mako did a pretty good job with the paint job now that it is black to match the truck. I think the shell looks pretty nice. Struts work good. This thing is coming together. It's crazy what just a little bit of work will do. All right, that's it for today. We'll see you guys in the next one.